Welcome to Through the Back Loop. This is a knitting podcast. My name's Peggy Richards Patty. I'm your host, and this is episode 7. Thank you so much if you're returning, and welcome if you're new. I apologize to those small group of viewers that I do have that it's been so long since I've podcasted. Bunch of different things happened. We had my mom was here visiting, and we just had different things happening in our family, and I just sort of got out of the routine. So I might be a little rusty today, but I have a lot to share with you. Since my last podcast, I was able to go to Stitches West for the very first time, and it was fabulous. I had been to Stitches Southern SoCal before, and just, not staying there, but just being there during the day for 2 of the days. That was the first experience with Stitches. But wow, Stitches West was amazing. Huge, so many vendors from all over the world. And I was lucky enough that I got to spend 3 nights there. And so we had time to relax in the evenings, and it was really cool. It was so fun to just be blown away by so many vendors from all over the country. And probably my favorite part was just watching all the sweaters walk by and recognizing so many different patterns, and just seeing, how different people had all their work. It was just fabulous. The other thing that I loved was in the hotel, we stayed at the Hyatt, and in the evening or any time during the day, you could sit in the lounge area, and it was just so fun to we met so many different people, and just, it was just great. Trish from my knitting group, hi Trish, if you're watching, and thank you so much for letting me tag along. She was the one that made the original reservation and had the room and everything, so I was really lucky that I got to she was my roomie, and I got to do this mostly because of her. The other thing that was really cool, we met a couple of, they were new friends to me. Trish had met them last year at Stitches, and their names were Patty and Ivalee, and they were great ladies. So fun to just chat with them. They were from the Bay Area, so that was kind of home to them. And we went out to dinner with them one night, and it was just fun. I can't wait to go back. It was great. Highly recommend that. Let's see. I guess I'll share with you my haul from Stitches. The first thing, one of the first things I bought, and I'll talk more about it when I talk about my finished object, but I bought a sweater quantity. In this case, it's not a very big sweater, but from Honey Girl Farms. And I have this much left over, so I'm probably going to make a hat. And that is Honey Girl Farms. It's a mother-daughter. I think the daughter is the main person behind the company, but the mom was there too. She was delightful. And they're from Missouri. I've talked about them before. She's a dyer. I just love her collections. This particular color that this is made out of is Claire in America. It's part of her Outlander series. So that was fun, and I'll talk about what I made with it more in just a second. I also, what did I do? While I was there, to back up about the festival, I took a class from Patty Lyons, and I was super excited about that. And it was her fabulous, what's the name of it? This is the handout. Fantastic Cast-Ons and Bind-Offs. And it was a great class. She is just one of the most knowledgeable knitters I've ever met. Just an incredible wealth of knowledge. And I'm actually, one of the other things that I did when I was at Stitches is I purchased a sweater quantity of this yarn for one of her knit-alongs. It's the Roselle Tea, and I'll show that in a second too. But anyway, this is 90% cotton, 10% merino, and it's the Granville Valley yarns from Webb's, really reasonably priced. So anyway, I'll tell you more about the knit along and what I'm working on in a few minutes. Another thing that I was able to purchase was a sweater quantity from Green Mountain Spinnery. They're from Vermont. They were there, and wow, their booth was incredible. Just so many gorgeous wools, and they had a few cottons too, but mostly wool. And so this is their New Mexico organic 2-ply DK weight wool, and it's in a gray colorway. I got a sweater quantity of that, and the plan for that is this, it's called the Macaulay Cardigan. It's by Katie Green, and she also has a podcast. It's called The Green Bean. I recommend her podcast. It's just so relaxing, so beautiful. She's out of the UK, and she does a great job. So anyway, I'm going to try one of her patterns with that. Another thing I purchased was from Heidi and Lana, and this is just the cutest thing. This is a shawl pattern called Pasture, and they had a sample that I actually tried on, and you can put it on all these different ways. But this kit is so cute. Not only does it have everything you need, yarn-wise, but it includes this cool little row count keeper, and then also was a really cute little stitch marker that I've taken out, and I don't see here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Just this cute little stitch marker. So they were just wonderful people, just so sweet, and really cool things in their booth. So that was another fun thing that I'm looking forward to. What else? Let me look. I think I have it written down. I went into Coco Knit's booth. I had actually purchased, or I didn't purchase this. I had her book as one of my Christmas presents, and she had a ton of samples, and I love it when they have samples that you can try on. And I'm planning on making this version. It's called the Emma sweater, and I've never done any of her sweaters. She has a particular method that she uses for sweaters, so I'm looking forward to that. I didn't purchase the yarn there. I actually purchased it when I got home from Webb's, and let me grab that real quick. So we're right over here. So super looking forward to this. Again, it won't be another thing that'll have to wait until next winter, but this yarn is from Blue Sky Fibers. It's called Techno, and it's a light bulky, and when I put that sweater on, it was just like getting a big hug or something. It was just so cozy and comfortable, and it's kind of reading a little darker in the monitor. It's a little bit softer gray than that, but anyway, I got to talk to her, Julie from Coco Knits, and she's just this incredibly sweet lady, and so giving of her time, and we chatted, and I'm really looking forward to making that sweater. Okay, so I think that's about it. There was one more thing. Oh, it was a little sock ruler that I purchased. Already fallen down. And some of the people in my knitting group use these, and I haven't used it yet, so I'll let you know. But I think it'll help, be a little more accurate, and especially, so many times I feel like one sock I complete it, and then the second sock I'm like, okay, exactly how did I do that? And so sometimes the length may not be exactly the same, so I'm hoping this will help. Oh, I know what I wanted to show. I purchased a bag from Erin Lane bags. And there's one of my little skeins for the Roselle tea that I'm going to talk about in a second. But, and I usually make my own bags, but this one, it kind of spoke to me, and I just love the clear because I move things around and I always have to unzip it to see exactly what's in there. So I thought I've really been enjoying this, and it's super lightweight. Some of the girls in the booth were demoing that you can, stand and knit. It's only got one handle, so you can have your yarn coming out, and they were standing around knitting, so you can do that. And anyway, love the bag. Anyway, Stitches was just fabulous. I really am looking forward to next year already, and I can't say enough good things about it. It was amazing. Let's see. Moving on. Oh, the bad part of my trip. Unfortunately, on the way home, it wasn't even on the airplane, I lost my knitting bag. And what happened was I, made it through the whole flight and all that, but my friend Trish, her son picked us up at the airport, and I had him drop me off at this little restaurant, and my husband was going to pick me up there just so they didn't have to go out of their way. And so I was inside there, and I remember I had my suitcase, my purse, and my knitting bag, and I had put it on my chair. And my husband ended up texting me. I didn't see him pull up, and he said, "I'm here." And I was like so surprised. And I remember I just stood up real quickly for whatever reason. I felt like I was in a hurry. I don't know why. But I zoomed right out of there, and with my suitcase and purse, and left my knitting bag on the chair. And so it's so painful that I almost can't even talk about it, because I had a knitting project. I had a Cocoa Knits notebook folder that I had gotten for Christmas that I loved. That was in there. The pattern that I was working on. I had one of my favorite little Notion kits in there. I mean, not to mention my knitter's backpack. So one of the things, and I'm going to scoot over so you can see it. Let's wait. Which way shall I do? There's my new knitter's backpack back there, because I had to replace it. I was like, I love that thing too much. So I just ordered it immediately, tried to rip the Band-Aid off as quickly as I could, and I try not to think about it. It was awful. I can't believe that happened. And a word of wise to everyone, including myself, and I still haven't done it, is at least put your name and your email address in your knitting bag, so if that ever happens to you, maybe some kind soul will make an effort to get it back to you. I'm pretty sure the place where I was, they probably wouldn't have done that. It was kind of a funky little place down on the coast, and I don't know, somebody probably just said, "What's all this weird knitting stuff in here?" Threw it and tossed it and took the backpack, since the backpack was pretty awesome. So anyway, live and learn. So moving on to finished objects. This one is, and I always am reverse in the reverse image here in the camera. This is called not Stevie Wonder, but Sleevey Wonder, since it only has one sleeve. And this design is by Grace Akram. Let me see if I can say her name right. Akram, I think is how you say it. And again, this is with Honey Girl Farms, and they're bulky. It's 100% superwash merino. And this jewel buckle, see, there we go again, wrong side. I also purchased at Stitches, and I'm still working with it to figure out exactly how it goes, but I think it really makes the project. And I'll stand up so you can see it. It's just a fun thing to wear. I thought it would be good for our climate, since it's not real hot. And already here in Southern California, it's starting to warm up. So on a cloudy day, it's great, but on any other sunny day, it's still a little warm. But next winter, for sure. I'll be wearing it a lot. That was super quick because it was bulky, and I was kind of obsessed, so that flew off the needles really quickly. The other finished object I have is the Euclid Shawl by Isabel Kramer, and I also was obsessed with this. I love the lace pattern, and it's a huge shawl. I've worn it. I wore it to my knitting group the other day, and it's really big. So one thing that I ordered the other day, and it just came, so is a little leather shawl pin. It's not a pin. It's like a cuff, and this helps hold it on you. And so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to change, and I'm going to show you how great this is. So I'll be right back. So here is the Euclid Shawl by Isabel Kramer, and I knit this out of Quince & Co.'s Phoebe, and it was knit on a size 7, and the colorway is called Ursa, 812 Ursa, and it's this huge shawl you saw a second ago. And I wore it the other day, but it kept like falling off, and so I got this cuff, and I just love it. It's leather, and it actually holds it on. You know how so many times shawls just like fall off. I don't know, I may have to play with it a little bit more. I don't know if this is exactly how I want to arrange it, but I am in love with this cuff just because it holds it on. And I ordered that on Etsy. I'd heard about that from, where did it go? I had the little card. Here it is. I had heard about this on another podcast, and I actually can't remember which one. The lady from Minnesota. Oh, she does I Rock Knits, I think, that podcast. And she was talking about it. So I looked her up on Etsy, and this gal's name, or her company's called The Rusted Stitch. And she has a lot of different things like this, different accessories and things for knitted items. But I just, as much as I love knitting shawls, and I think they're beautiful, many times I do get frustrated with them constantly kind of falling off. So, or just like constantly, swinging them back on your shoulders. So I'm really thrilled with this new accessory from the Rusted Stitch, Stephanie Lewis. So that's exciting. Okay, I'm moving on to works in progress. The first one that I have to show you is in my little project bag that I showed last time, and it is the Hermione sock. Gotten pretty far along on it. I've decided I always want to have a sock on the works. Because the last time when I finished this Euclid shawl, I didn't have anything at all to work on, and so I'm like, okay, if I always have a sock going, then I'll have something to work on even when I finish. So I think I'm going to try to do like a sweater or some kind of garment, and then a sock, and then possibly maybe even a shawl. So there's always something to work on when I finish something. But the Hermione sock is a pattern by Erica Luder, and the yarn that I'm using, actually that was another purchase from Stitches, I forgot about that. It's Miss Babs, and oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the colorway and the tag's not here, but it's from Miss Babs, and I don't know. I'll have to look and see if I can find that tag, but that's one of my works in progress. The one that I'm really spending the most time on is the Roselle Tee by Patty Lyons, the knit along. And on April 1st, you got the first clue. And so she has these incredible videos showing you how to do your gauge, your swatch, and figuring out your gauge, all the math. This amazing, I've never seen this before, cast on that's just for swatches. because they don't crowd your stitches down at the bottom like a lot of cast-ons do, and so you don't, you have enough room that it doesn't impede the little V's. And then the same thing for the top. And then she also tells you to do like at least 6 inches of knitting and to count before blocking and after blocking. So I think I got a more accurate gauge than I've ever had before in my life. And as normal, I knit a little more loose than most people, I guess. So I had to do another one, and my gauge was still a little bit big. But she has some great videos of showing you how, even if your gauge is a little off, what you can do about it. So I highly recommend her knit-alongs. Even if you don't knit the sweater, just the videos and the information that goes along with it is invaluable. Again, I did take that class from her at Stitches, and she's pretty brilliant. I'm really, really impressed with her skills. Hold on just a second while I get the sweater. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So I went and my sweater I'd left on the couch. So anyway, here is what I have completed so far of the Roselle tee, and has all this middle panel. On one side, it's got the decreases, so it makes this kind of pie-shaped shape on one side, and then on the other side, it will be the lace work. But along here, these sides is where you could adjust if your gauge was too big. And also, I added a little extra down at the bottom on a few rows. I think, gosh, maybe a little more than a few. I think I added about 6 rows up because I want the length to be a little bit longer. My gauge showed me that if I knit the pattern as it was set up, I would have had a very shorter than it should have been, and I would have had it wider than it should have been. So I had to plan some adjustments. Anyway, it's coming along. On Monday we get a new clue, so I'm hoping before then that I can, get this up, get caught up to where I'm supposed to be. But again, highly recommend it. I've never really done a knit along before online like that, and so far it's been really great. They have a Ravelry page where you can ask questions, or just, they have you can see other people's pictures and how it's going for a lot of different people, so it's pretty fun. The other, let's see, I wanted to tell you about another little yarn adventure I got to go on last weekend. Like I've said before, both of my kids live up in LA, and so I knew the LA yarn crawl was going on, and we made a little trip up there, my husband and I, and they have apartments without a guest room, so we stayed in Chinatown, and we found this little hotel that will take our dog as well. But when we go up for these weekends, it's so much fun. We love doing that, but it's really, really, really busy. And I'm really the only other person in the family that's really into the LA yarn crawl. But I got to go to 2 shops, and I have to give my husband a lot of credit because, I told him he's a good yarn husband because he made it possible. He would just drive the car or try to find parking, and if he couldn't, he'd just drive around. And I went in, the first shop I went into was the Little Knittery in the Los, let's see, how do you say the name of that neighborhood? Los Feliz, I think. It's on North Vermont Street. And this is a cute little yarn shop. I've been in there before. And they're actually the ones that were responsible for the Pussy Hat. So they're kind of famous. And I purchased, I was only in there like 10, 15 minutes, but it was long enough to make a purchase. And so I got this really beautiful yarn that is 85% organic cotton, 15% baby alpaca, and I'm going to make a summer top. I'm planning on the Ripple crop top, and I'll put a picture. But I think that'll be just fabulous for the summer. So excited about that. And then the next day, I got to go to a little shop called Gather, and that's in downtown LA. And it's on the top floor of this really cool old, I don't know if it's old, I guess the building's old, but just this really amazing bookstore. I think it was named the Last Bookstore. And it has tons of floors of books and like big leather comfortable couches you can sit on. And it really reminded me of this great bookstore in Denver called the Tattered Cover. Just a place you could go and spend all day. But my husband dropped me off, bless his heart, downtown LA, and it was on a Sunday, and the farmer's market was going on, and everything was going on. And he couldn't find a parking space, so he just drove around and around, dropped me off. It was kind of crazy, but I'm going to show you what I got. Hold on one second. So I didn't buy a lot there. I only bought some stitch markers to kind of replace the ones from my last knitting bag from Stitches, but I got one of their great bags, and I think all the shops were selling these. So that says Los Angeles Yarn Crawl on that side, and then on this side it has their logo again, the dates, and then I think there's 22 yarn stores that were participating, and I would have loved to have gone to more. I really want to get up to the Knitting Tree. I would have loved to have gone to. And then also there's one called The Altered Stitch. And I would have loved to have gone, but maybe next year. Just have to plan a little bit differently. But I was actually really thrilled that I got to go to the two that I did. So have to thank the yarn husband for that. That really kind of completes everything that I have for today. I am headed to Denver this week to visit a very good friend, and several of my friends actually, and hope to get to visit my local yarn store when I was in Denver, and I'll try to take a little footage and share it with you next time. Until then, have a great day and happy knitting.